Section 1. The tipping point is here. One number tells you everything you need to know about the future of cars. By 2025, just around the corner, experts believe that in some countries, nearly half of all new cars sold will be electric. Think about that for a moment. Half. This isn't some far-off science fiction dream anymore. It's happening right now on our streets, in our showrooms, and it's a change that is going to affect every single one of us. It's a massive, seismic shift in how we get around, and it's picking up speed faster than a supercar off the line. This isn't just a new type of engine, it's a whole new chapter for driving. For years, many of us thought, nice idea, but not for me. Too expensive, too complicated, too much of a faff. That was the old story. The new story is completely different. The walls that once stood between ordinary drivers and electric cars are crumbling down one by one. Let's tackle the biggest hurdle first, the price tag. For the longest time, the common wisdom was that electric cars were toys for rich people. And to be fair, for a while, that was largely true. But the world has spun on its axis, and that idea is now firmly out of date. The single biggest reason for this is the plummeting cost of the battery. Think of the battery as the engine of an EV. It was always the most expensive part. But thanks to brilliant minds in labs and massive new factories, the cost has fallen off a cliff. It's a game changer. To put a number on it, look at this. In 2010, the battery cost about $1,200 per kilowatt. By 2023, that number had crashed to under $150 per kilowatt. That is an enormous drop. It's like the price of a brand new television falling from the cost of a small car to the cost of a weekend away. This massive price reduction in batteries is the main reason why car makers can now build and sell EVs at prices getting closer to petrol cars. The barrier to entry is getting lower every single day. But the sticker price is only half the story. The real magic of an EV happens after you've bought it. It's what we call the total cost of ownership, and this is where electric cars really start to shine. Imagine never having to visit a petrol station again. Imagine your fuel bill being slashed by more than half. Alright, let's talk about the big fear, the one that everyone brings up. What if I run out of battery in the middle of nowhere? This is known as range anxiety, and it used to be a very real concern. Early electric cars could barely make it to the next town and back, but today, that fear is mostly a myth. The technology has leaped forward so far, it's like comparing an old brick phone from the 90s to the smartphone in your pocket. Modern EVs have completely changed the game, and the distances they can cover are genuinely impressive. Most new electric cars on the market today can comfortably travel between 200 and 300 miles on a single full charge. Some of the fancier models can even push past 400 miles. Now stop and think about your own driving habits. The average person drives less than 30 miles a day. That means for most of us, a modern EV has enough range to cover an entire week of commuting, school runs, trips to the supermarket on just one charge. You're not going to be running out of juice on your way to work. It's simply not the problem it once was. Even for those long holiday drives or visits to relatives in another part of the country, the situation has improved beyond recognition. Section 4. Charging up. Easier than pumping gas. So if the range is sorted, what about filling it up? Or rather, charging it up? Many people picture a complicated mess of wires and waiting for hours on end. The reality is much, much simpler. For most people, far more convenient than visiting a smelly petrol station every week. The biggest change in thinking is this. You do most of your refueling while you sleep. The vast majority of EV owners charge their cars at home overnight. It's as easy as plugging in your phone before you go to bed. Imagine pulling into your driveway after a long day. You get out, grab a small cable, and plug it into your car. That's it. The job is done. The car will slowly and gently charge up overnight, taking advantage of cheaper nighttime electricity rates. When you wake up in the morning, you have a full tank every single day without ever having to leave your house. No more last-minute dashes to the petrol station on a cold, rainy morning. No more standing around waiting for a tank to fill. You start every journey with maximum range, ready for whatever the day throws at you. But what about those long trips we talked about? This is where the public charging network comes in, and it's growing at an incredible rate. You'll now find charging stations at motorway service stations. You'll now find charging stations in supermarket car parks. You'll now find charging stations at hotels. You'll now find charging stations in city centers. The secret sauce behind this entire electric car revolution is the battery. Brief visual hook. It's the single most important component, and the advances we've seen in battery technology are nothing short of astonishing. It's not just that they've gotten cheaper, as we've discussed, they've also become more powerful, safer, longer lasting. The batteries in today's EVs are sophisticated pieces of engineering designed to withstand years of charging and discharging, while delivering smooth, consistent power to the wheels. They are the silent, hard-working heart of the machine. One of the biggest improvements has been in energy density. That's a fancy way of saying how much power you can pack into a certain amount of space. Higher energy density means you can have a battery that gives you a longer range without it being enormous and weighing the car down. This is why a modern EV can have a 300-mile range, while an older one struggled to do 80. The boffins have figured out new chemistries and clever packaging to squeeze more and more electrons into the same sized box, which translates directly into more miles for you. Longevity used to be another worry. People asked, will the battery die after a few years like my phone battery does? Pause. Let's get down to brass tacks. The money. We've talked about running costs, but let's put some simple, real-world numbers on it. Let's compare a typical petrol family car with a similar-sized electric family car. The numbers can be startling. Say you drive an average of 12,000 miles a year. A decent petrol car might get you 40 miles to the gallon. At today's fuel prices, let's call it $3.50 a gallon, you'd be forking out around $1,400 a year just on petrol. That's a significant chunk of change, leaving your bank account every month. Now, let's look at the electric alternative. To cover those same 12,000 miles, a typical EV would use about 3,500 kilowatt hours of electricity. The cost of electricity varies, but a reasonable average, especially if you charge at home overnight, is about 15 cents per kilowatt hour. Do the maths and you'll find your annual fuel bill comes to just $525. Visual, split-screen infographic petrol, $1,400, or EV, $525. That's a saving of nearly $900 in a single year. Over 5 years of ownership, that's $4,500 you've kept in your pocket, instead of giving to the oil companies. That's a family holiday, a new kitchen, or a serious dent in your mortgage. And remember, that's just the fuel. We haven't even factored in the lower maintenance costs. No more $100 oil changes every 6 months. No expensive timing belt replacements. No exhaust pipes falling off. Studies have consistently shown that EV owners spend significantly less on servicing and repairs over the lifetime of their vehicle. Sometimes, all the facts and figures in the world don't hit home like a simple real-life story. So, let me tell you about Maria. Maria is a school teacher. She's a mum of 2. She drives to work every day. 2 years ago, her old petrol hatchback was on its last legs. She needed a new car that was reliable. She needed one affordable to run. She needed one big enough for the family. She was nervous about going electric. She was worried about cost and charging. Then she took the plunge and bought a modest, mid-sized EV. She hasn't looked back since. Her daily commute is about 20 miles round trip. When she gets home, she plugs the car in. By morning, it's full again. Her home electricity bill went up about $40 a month. Her petrol spending fell from over $150 a month to zero. She saved over $100 every month straight away. Maria's story shows, for a normal life, an EV isn't just possible, it's better. Switching to an electric car feels like a personal choice, but it's part of a much bigger, more exciting picture. This isn't just about swapping a petrol engine for a battery. It's about fundamentally changing our relationship with energy and transportation. EVs are a key piece of a much larger puzzle that includes clean energy, smarter cities, a more sustainable way of life. When you drive an EV, you're not just driving a car, you're driving a piece of the future. And that's a pretty cool feeling. One of the most powerful connections is with renewable energy. As our electricity grids get cleaner, with more wind farms and solar panels being built, the cars we plug into that grid get cleaner too. An EV bought today will actually have a lower carbon footprint in 5 years' time than it does now, without you having to do a thing. It's a car that gets better for the planet over time. And so the evidence is clear. The electric car is no longer a niche curiosity. It's the mainstream future of driving, and it's arriving very, very quickly. The costs are down, the range is up, the benefits are real and measurable, saving you a packet of money every year, providing a smoother driving experience, a quieter driving experience, a more enjoyable driving experience. The big question is no longer if this change will happen, but when you will become a part of it. The future is knocking on your door. What can you do today? You don't have to rush out and buy one tomorrow, but you can start getting prepared. Get curious. Next time you think about changing your car, test drive an EV. Feel that instant, silent acceleration. See how simple the controls are. Ask the salesperson to show you the charging cable. Just experience it. Talk to friends or neighbors who own one. Ask them what they love. Ask them what, if anything, is a pain. Do a little homework on your own situation. Look at your daily mileage. Where do you park at night? Do you have a driveway or garage for a home charger? Check your electricity provider for special nighttime rates. Use an online calculator to estimate fuel savings.